Welcome to Life's Nuggets, everyone. Today we are going to talk about something that I did not really know anything about. I don't know about you, Susan, but about
Too much.
vaping. No, and I'm really happy that we decided to go into this topic because I'm sure there's lots of people like us, the maybe older
Confused. Yes.
gender generation that actually doesn't really know what this is. And so we've done a bit of a dive in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are not doctors, so we can't do the whole medical thing, but I think we've done a bit of a dive to get a
Yeah.
handle on this.
Well, I think we've done the research, I think, which just like us, I think other people might be wondering about, right? Is it different? Is it better than smoking? People fought so hard in the 80s, 90s, and 20s to get smoking recognized as being harmful to our health. And I think both you and I, having sort of talked about this and done our research into this, have discovered that essentially vaping is just as harmful, if not more, and in different ways. It's
Right.
just the way these marketing companies have produced this product, which is highly enticing, right, to the younger people. And
Yeah.
I think that's where the harmful aspect of this is. It almost feels like it's being pushed aside, right? It's this social, cute thing, flavors, little gadgets. And it's like, do you actually realize what's in this?
Yeah. Well, how about
Right?
we talk about just, back up a little bit about what is vaping? Because I didn't
Yeah.
know this, Susan. So
Mhm.
just for those of you that didn't know it as well, because I was very confused. I'd
Yeah.
heard vaping and e-cigarettes. Is that one and the same?
Okay.
I don't know. And so the actual definition is any kind of vapors that you are inhaling and exhaling into your
Yeah.
body. And there's all sorts of different names for them, which I thought was super cool.
Hmm.
So there's e-cigarettes, and then it also goes by vapes, mods, e-hookahs, sub-ohms,
Yes.
which I is never heard of that before, tank systems, and vape pens. So all of
Yes.
those are an electric process of putting vapors,
Inhaling a substance.
yeah, which I also didn't realize that. So in the process of doing it, and you probably know more about this with your nurse's background there, Susan, is that they're kind of heating up this
Yes.
vape
Yeah.
and it becomes an aerosol that you're actually ingesting into your
Into
body,
your lungs.
into
Yeah.
your lungs.
Well, it actually goes straight into your lungs, right? That's how our lungs are that's how we breathe in and out, right? It's through our
Right.
lungs. And so as soon as these chemicals are heated through the little like the vapes or the e-cigarettes or whatever the amazing names you had there, as soon as it's heated and we breathe it in, we're absorbing it. Right.
Wow.
And, like I said to you when I was nursing, the way that we would deal with people that came in that had like lung disease and all sorts of things like that is we would give them nebulizers. So essentially a vaping, it would be heated. And, you see them in the hospital, they have a mask on and they're breathing it in and it's just gently going into their lungs. So essentially, any of these kind of tools that people are using to vape or whatever it is, that is going to be exactly the same effect. Whatever product is in there is being heated and the body will be absorbing it. Right. And this is
Wow.
where I think people aren't aware of it. I think they think because it's vaping, it's there's less nicotine in some of them, right? We were looking into this. Some of them have less nicotine, but then they have other products in that we know are more harmful. It's just we haven't got enough data, like it hasn't been around long enough really for us to see the consequences, but we know what they're going to be, right? I mean,
Read. I did read that not all vaping products have nicotine in it, but
that's right.
I
Yeah.
think the majority of them do. And the
Yeah.
nicotine is, from what I understood, seemed to be a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think
if you're
so.
smoking a cigarette, you're just burning the nicotine. But this nicotine that's in the vaping is stronger and it's very, very addictive. It
Yeah.
almost sounds like it's more addictive than cigarettes, but
Yeah.
don't quote me on
Well,
that.
and I think there's also part of it is the flavors, right? That they're using. They're targeting, you
Young
know,
people.
all these crazy flavors that, I mean, I know I never smoked, but I had friends who smoked, and I think sometimes they had like slightly flavored cigarettes. Like I think they would have like a mint cigarette that was slightly flavored at the time. But now, I mean, what was it you were telling me? There's like hundreds of flavors. It's crazy.
7,000. 7,000, Susan. I read there were 7,000 flavors, anything from like cotton candy to chocolate to mango. So that, and young people, like
Yeah.
we are probably not attracted to that sort of thing, but young people are very attracted to all these different flavors. So I
Mhm.
can see that it would be a fun thing to
Yeah.
do. I don't know how socially acceptable it is, but I understood that it has less stigma than smoking
Cigarette.
does.
Well, and again, I think this is where those marketing companies are, they've rigged the system. Do you know what I mean? They know how to rig the system. And these young people are, I don't know if they're really aware of what is really in them because the flavors make it sound fun
It's gonna be
and
cool.
it's not,
I can
yeah,
see
and it's
being at
not
a
a
party, when we were our age, it's like, hey, you want to have a cigarette?
cigarette. No, it's a
But at
vape.
a party, it's now, hey, you want to vape and do some chocolate vaping? Like
Some cotton candy.
it's probably fun, and
Yeah,
they're probably thinking it's not
it's
serious.
harmful.
But I was reading that some of what they already know
Mm,
is that, and you had already mentioned it, is so it's going directly into your lungs. So if
yeah.
you've got asthma or any other kind of lung issues, it's going to exacerbate that.
Oh, wow.
But it also can lead to COPD and lung cancer.
Yeah,
But I also read, and you, I know, can tell more about that. It can also lead to heart attack and stroke.
yeah. Well,
So
it's all
that
the
would be,
inflammation that's created, right, in the body through all these products, the Formula High, all of these are products that the body shouldn't be dealing with, right, in terms of sort of waste products and toxicity. And so, when there's a lot of inflammation in the body, it reacts and in itself, it's trying to protect itself. But by doing that, it is creating inflammation. And it's this inflammation that impacts, all sorts of parts of our body. It inflames our arteries, it inflames, it irritates the heart. It's just terrible all round. And this is it. I don't think people realize the extent. I mean, we've seen, right? We've heard in the news young people, young, fit and healthy that started vaping and ended up in the ER because they had lung congestion, right? Because
yeah.
of the vaping. I'm like, why? I think the thing that frustrates me when we talk about this is I'm like, why these companies allowed to sell it, right? We looked into the laws and, the Canadian Act for vaping and smoking is 18, right? It's not to be sold or given to people under the age of 18, but of course they have access, right? I mean, and 18 is not, it's not old. They like these teenagers are still developing, and yet we are giving them access, right, to all these crazy products.
Well, and I'm sure they're getting access to it, just like we all did back in the
Of
day,
course
right?
we
We all
did.
got alcohol, we got cigarettes and
Oh,
stuff. But what's different with this versus, let's say, a cigarette, which I read, is that it can also, for a young person,
mm-hmm.
young adults, it can affect brain development.
Yeah.
And so that includes having a harder time to concentrate, to learn, and
Mhm.
to manage their emotions.
Yeah,
So that's which you don't have that with
that's huge.
regular cigarettes. So
No.
that's a huge thing that they've already found that it's affecting your cognitive abilities.
Yeah.
So huge, huge red flag. I
Yeah.
think the other thing that I found really interesting, Susan, is the difference between an older person and a younger person, because I did read, I think e-cigarettes, this is what I understood. E-cigarettes were a
Right.
way to help people stop smoking. And from what I could tell, that actually hasn't happened.
No.
Um, but older people can deal with the e-cigarettes a lot better than the young people. The young people, and I don't know if maybe it's because they're still developing what's going on, but it's much more harmful in a young person than, let's say, an older person. So I
You
think
mean to smoke an e-cigarette?
yes, sorry, to have an
Okay.
e-cigarette. To vape is harder on a young person than an older person.
Yeah,
And maybe it's just because their body is still developing.
yeah.
Whereas an older person is maybe have a little bit more resilient. I don't really know,
Well, I
but
think there's some of that too. There's, young people are constantly putting their, well, I mean, some older people do, but you mean putting their bodies under pressure. They're out there, they're left, they're right, they're center, right? Maybe it's in that respect, but I would have thought if we are looking developmentally, then yeah, they're still very much developing, right? The body, we think of young men, you see physically like the difference between them at like 20 and 25 is huge,
yes.
right? Do you mean when you look at their build, everything just changes? I think we tend to think like by the time they're 20, they're done. I'm like, no, 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 we still have like there's still a way to go. And so all those years of vaping and the whole culture behind it, I mean, I get it. Like the whole aspect of sharing and being out with your friends but it's just the actual danger. Like when people were smoking, we knew how dangerous it was, right? We knew it when we were smoking.
Did we know that though?
But in the 90s, right,
Years
when it was
ago?
starting to come
Yeah,
out, we were aware of it, like all the labeling on the packages and things like that. We did know. I think what frustrates me now is the way that vaping is marketed is that it's a safer option.
it is. Yeah.
Right.
And that
And that's how it's being presented. And I'm like, that's what's infuriating. It's like we know that kids are going to go out and vape and do these things, but don't false market. Don't tell us it's a safer option when we know very well that it isn't. Right.
Yeah, although there is not enough data, we both
No,
found there's not enough data to see the
it's not.
long-term consequences, but we already know that this is really, really harmful for you,
Yeah.
particularly with the young people.
Yeah. This is it. And the access they have to it is going to be so easy. Right.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So I hope this helped because like I knew nothing about this.
No.
So I loved looking into this and having a better understanding of what's going on. So I think for me, when I was looking up some stuff for everybody in the Canada government site, canada.ca, I just put in what is vaping and it came up. There's a lot of really good information in that website if
It
anybody.
is not bad actually. And they do touch on things, I mean, we haven't had time today, but also like the financial cost of it, right? These are all activities and things that I don't think people, we don't factor that in. There's the health cost, there's the monetary cost to it, there's a lot of things that come into it. And so, is it something that you want kids not to do? Obviously, but we know they're gonna do them or do it, but I think they should be more aware of the
Educated.
impact. Yeah, exactly. So that they can, I don't know if at that age you're able to make a good educated choice, but do you know what I mean? Have some knowledge of, if they are struggling, like you said, with concentration and things like that, it's maybe I could reduce it a little bit or just do it at the weekends or, right? We're not expecting them to be saints, but just at least give them a choice, right? Because I
Correct.
think at the moment, a lot of them probably don't even realize what it's actually doing to them
I
in the
agree. I
long
don't
run.
think they realize what they're probably thinking it's such a safer
Yeah.
option, but they need to have that knowledge and that education, just like you do with drinking, with
Yeah.
drugs, with regular cigarettes. What are the consequences of
Yeah.
doing that? So that needs to be added in
Well,
um,
it isn't. Yeah.
to their knowledge base.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. Well, great chatting with you,
Yeah.
Susan.
We'll
We,
leave it there, I think, because we
I
could
mean,
go on.
we could, but so I think the moral of the story is everybody needs to be more educated on this topic,
Yeah.
and it's not good for you, regardless of what the packaging is saying.
Yes.
So,
Please don't believe the marketing.
correct. And be aware,
Be
everybody.
aware and just make a choice that's appropriate for you, right? At the end of the day.
Love it. If you have any comments, and you want to add them below, we'd love to hear that. And have a great day.
Yeah. See you soon.